South Africa is beginning to see a large turnaround in the so-called skill shortage with the development of a skills model that encompasses not only basic skills but core and advanced skills. This is the view that's been expressed at a gathering held this week of leading South African and European tooling manufacturers. Let's get the ABCs of why it's important to build up competitiveness in tool manufacturing. We are now joined here in studio by Henk Snyman, who's CEO of the Gauteng Tooling Initiative. Let's start off with this tool making and tooling concept. Why is it important and strategic for this economy?
Tool making is the basis of all manufacturing. You need to be able to make the tools to be able to make the components. Therefore, if you are not capable of making the tools, you and the total economy remains a colony. Yeah. You can only do and only make those components and those parts and those products that somebody else allows you to make.
Efficiency here, and some people would say we import a lot of our parts and then we build big products. It works. Why should we start adding another dimension to the manufacturing process?
Yeah, the biggest challenge to South Africa is creating long-term, sustainable, quality jobs. That's what we need to do in South Africa to remain a first world country. We will not be able to do that if we do not create our own technology. We're able to make the components here because that is the jobs. The jobs come out of manufacturing. It's adding value, it's improving people's lives, and it's reducing the amount that we need to import.
Since the 1980s, it's reported that South Africa's lost its tool-making capacity by a figure of about 18%, and it's largely because South Africa couldn't compete with the growing production levels in Asia. That's still a major issue right now. The manufacturing industry constantly buckling under the pressure of what we're seeing coming out of Asia. What would we do to boost capacity at this stage if it's so important?
In terms of the tool-making industry, the biggest problem is a lack of skills. Now, we must realize that the government, in supporting TASA, which is a tool-making association in South Africa, and putting a program in place, which is a National Tooling Initiative program, and funding it, is making a massive difference. We have 600 tool makers which will complete their first year at the end of this year. They are writing international accredited exams. So there's nothing wrong with our capability in South Africa. It has to do with the organization thereof. So we're creating the skills base. With the skills base, we will be able to make more tools, and this will help us to support the manufacturing sector in South Africa.
Toolroom labor figures in South Africa says that we have about 28%. Over and above this initiative you're talking about, what's being done to address it? Because we're told one of the biggest problems that manufacturers face in terms of managing costs is the fact that labor often cannot use the tools that they're having to use in the broader production process. And when those tools are broken, you can't find the skills to fix it. So you continue to have this relationship with importers and continue to have this relationship with an exchange rate that's volatile because you're having to pay for so many services abroad.
Yeah, well, Lerato, what you've mentioned is exactly the problem. And what we are now doing is we're filling the pipeline. So this year we have 600 students, next year another 600, the year after that another 600 throughout South Africa. So therefore we are filling the pipeline. And from 3 years from now we will have a flood of skilled people exiting the pipeline. And we are very confident that they will find jobs in industry because part of their training is on-the-job training within the industry. And I'm very glad to say that 200 companies are participating in training these 600 students. They will have jobs
by the time they graduate. Let's just unpack that a little bit, because when we look at the fact that manufacturing, although it does contribute one-fifth of our GDP, the big problem is, again, the competitiveness of South African manufacturing. You've had industries like textiles, for instance, decimated by the growing threat of China. So some people are saying there are areas of manufacturing that just cannot be sustained in the current global environment, and maybe just focus on distressed industries like the automotives, for instance. But all these efforts to get a highly industrialized economy are not going to work. We need to be looking at other things.
Of course, we have to focus on our strengths. There's no doubt about it. but this is not the time to give up on, on a lot of the industries. I just want to share with you, if for instance we have a factory, and most of the tool making organizations currently work an 8-hour day. Yeah. If we take the students and the youngsters and the young people that will be coming out of the program in 3 years from now, we could put them into a lot of these organizations, and we will work 2 shifts. So that means the 1 shift goes to 2 shifts. All the other costs within the organization stays exactly the same. With 2 shifts, your time to market is so much quicker. Yeah. So we are very confident that once the trained artisans, tool makers hit the market, we are going to make a significant difference to the productivity here in South Africa.